I know that human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Hello and welcome to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast. Here at Spoilt Milk, we discuss, dissect, and destroy movies, especially guilty pleasures. Then we decide if it's truly spoilt milk or if it's ascended into a fine, luxurious cheese. So without further ado, let's go.
Warning, this podcast is full of spoilers for the title feature and there's bad language from the start. If you've never seen the film or you're offended by bad language, you have been warned.
Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast. As always, my name's Chris. I wasn't going to say that.
As always, as in sometimes your name is...
Yeah, sometimes it's not. No, because I always forget to introduce myself. And I was going to say as always and then introduce you.
Well, you introduce yourself as Chris, but we often call you Cham.
Yeah.
So.
You're just going to confuse folk.
As always.
So, not as always. So, as never, I'm Chris. And joined by Hobo. How are you, Hobo?
That's a loaded question.
We've not done the whole kind of like shtick about you being on the streets for a while. Do you miss that?
Well, I feel, with a Conservative government, universal credit definitely works, and I'm still on the street.
I thought you were going to say, like, we've got to keep it under wraps. Like, if they find out about me.
They'll cut the universal credit more, and they'll send me to a different city.
You can't get universal credit if you've got no fixed abode, you dickhead.
Yeah, not San Francisco.
That makes sense. That makes sense why I'm turned away.
And actually, as always, that was Katty. How are you?
I'm all right.
How we've not talked about your love of dinosaurs for a while either.
Or my
your
giant head.
Yeah. Someone who I spoke to who was a new listener was like, I really enjoyed the story about your head getting stuck in the carriages. If you haven't heard it, you can listen back.
Is that from the most recent episode where we recapped it?
Yeah, the recap. We can't do a third recap, can we?
Did you tell them to go back and listen to the original story?
No, but I think they did go back and listen to a lot. Shout out to Lewis.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew we'd finally get a famous listener.
Yeah.
I love the fact that when anyone asks if they can ask us a question on social media, Hobo, you ask them what the width of a garage is between two garages, and the answer is my head.
Yeah, I've got like a set of 3 questions based on like some early episodes, and I'd even forgotten about them.
Well, I replied to some guy on social media and like I looked at the questions, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I had to message into the group chat just like, what is the width between two garages?
What social media are you talking about?
I think it's
Facebook.
Facebook.
I've come off Facebook.
On Facebook, and I think on other ones you can set like auto responses.
Oh, yeah.
And so I set an auto response. It's like, we'll reply. We'll reply to you shortly, but in the meantime, answer these riddles free or something like that. And
Nice.
I can't remember what they are.
One's definitely about my head.
Yeah. Which is, have you ever measured it?
Yeah. It's a lot bigger than what it should be for my size.
I think your head looks quite small.
It's not though. It does from front, but if you look from side, like the side profile, it's
I think
girthy.
over Christmas, one of the crackers, I got like a tape measure. So I measured my head, and then I got everyone else around the table, and all the guys had the same measurement of head, and all the women have the same measurement, except for one person who was like in the middle of both.
What, genders?
Oh, yeah, well, that's the answer that we found out.
I think my head is a centimetre smaller than Richie's head.
Is that about normal? I don't know.
Richie's a 5'9" man and I'm a 5 foot girl.
Well, actually, it's quite a good one talking about someone whose like head is disproportionate to their bodies, because we're going to move on to... we're going to be covering Beavis and Butthead today, Do America, because what are we doing now?
That was a truly great segue. That's why you're the host. You're the leader of this charge.
Well, I'm throwing it over to you to explain what's different.
What's different now?
Yeah.
Oh, we are doing an animation season. What is it? So we're all picking 3 films, animated films each.
Yeah.
And then there's a final 10th of the total 9 that we'll add on, we all agree on. But we're all bringing our own own taste.
Is it we can't decide on whether we should just put all of the reserved picks into a hat and pick one out?
Yeah.
Or are we going to actually settle on one?
Or we could put it out there to listeners.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Do a little vote. If you're up for that, let us know. Contact us on Facebook. I won't see it.
Or Instagram.
Because if we had to choose it, then maybe we could do it as the top 3 for that episode is the fight of what movie are we going to watch sort of thing.
Nice. I like it.
But yeah.
So we're doing we're starting to move into seasons now, aren't we? We're going to do different seasons. Animations are first. Why did we pick animation? Can we remember?
I think it came from tentacle porn.
What?
Did it?
You were on about some weird fucking hentai shit that you'd seen, Hobo. And then I was just like, I have never seen tentacle porn.
Was this the story where I explained to someone why tentacle porn came about and then they thought I was into tentacle porn?
I think so.
Yeah, because I watched a really interesting video. It was like how the culture of
Hentai.
Japan at the time, because it banned like traditional porn and traditional traditional penetration, whatever that means, that it led to tentacle porn and all this weird stuff. It was really interesting, like mini documentary.
But they're fine with fucking Tub Girl.
What?
So
You don't want to, Cham. Don't ever look up Tub Girl.
I'll tell you about it so you don't have to look.
Right, okay.
So Tub Girl is, I think it's either 2 or 3 pictures
Right.
of the rumor is it's a Japanese girl. Her face is blurred out, but she's in a bath. She's wearing like white underwear, but her butt is in the air. She's got no pants on, like I think her pants around like the back of her knees. But she is letting out explosive orange diarrhea out of her butthole like a fountain.
Oh,
and it just goes all over her.
Fucking
But
hell.
her vagina is also blurred out.
But you can see the butthole and the spraying shit.
Yeah, but her butthole's not.
And to be honest, it's disgusting, but like the composition of the photo is kind of impressive.
It is.
Like it's like I want to say it's not fully fisheye, but it's that kind of wider angle, and her butt is more in focus than like the rest of it.
Is it like, you know, when you go into like a 90s, or when you went into a 90s kebab shop and they had one of those waterfall pictures where the background, the lights go down so it looks like the waterfall's running?
No.
Oh, fucking hell. Have they done that with shit? See, this is the thing. I know about 90s kebab art, but I don't know. When you said Tub Girl, I thought ice cream. I thought someone was going to be eating a tub of ice cream naked or
You're so
something.
fucking naive.
And yeah, I wish it was an act. I wish I was like, I don't know about these things, but I actually have no idea.
Do you
what
think
you're
One
talking
Man,
about.
One Screwdriver is just a nice like DIY YouTube channel?
That isn't a thing though, is it? Because I've heard of Two Girls, One Cup.
I've never seen One Man, One Screwed. Did they put it down his willy?
Up his
Up his
His
butthole?
ball. And does what? Just screws?
just.
Oh.
Does it come out?
The only time I looked at it was around the time of Tub Girl coming about. So it's been so long, and I've felt no desire to relive it. That and the guy who puts like a glass in his anus.
one
and it
man, one
breaks.
jar.
Yeah, One Man, One Jar. It's all in that same
I've actually
category.
heard of that.
Yeah.
There's a bleeding in.
Yeah.
So if anyone was listening to this thinking, animation, is this safe for kids? It's not.
And I think with this one, we defined the animation this animation series as Western animation.
Yeah.
Not
like,
to go into any like
specifically
world.
no world cinema did we say?
Yeah.
Right, okay, because I think we were originally saying no anime, but we're just classing no world cinema.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's so much good animation, it seems a shame to rule out all the others because, you know, these are maybe the more popular ones come to our mind because we've had more exposure to them. But yeah, I think there's a lot of other good animation I'd like to call out.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be another season coming up.
Maybe I'll get you to watch Hotel Transylvania.
Oh, God.
Was that not in your 3?
Yeah.
It was, right? Okay.
Well, no, it was in my top 20.
Top 20 of the last 20 years, Hotel Transylvania.
Yep.
That actually stand out pick.
But is that not in your animation picks? That might be a spoiler.
I mean,
Might not have decided yet.
I don't know yet. Because it's been in the top 20, I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to throw it in there.
Okay.
I might, if we're doing the mixed bag thing, I might throw it in there as like a wild card.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
A Charlie Day.
I've seen the first one, Hotel Transylvania, but there's like 3, is there now?
Yeah.
So maybe watch all 3.
There's one where the baby grows up a little bit, and then there's another one on a cruise ship.
Right, okay then. So what film are we doing shortly?
I mean, there's Beavis and Butthead.
That's what we're doing, isn't it?
That's what we're doing today.
Right,
Yeah.
we're doing Beavis and Butthead.
Which
just
is why I said with big foreheads.
Oh, yeah. Well, just big heads in general.
Oh, yeah.
Your forehead is proportionate to your head size, Katty.
Maybe you can't see it, it's full of fringe.
If you lift it up, is it like a TARDIS where it
It just
keeps
goes-
revealing more? Oh my God.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about just animation in general. Do you have any...
me specifically?
No, both
Yes,
of you?
this is Masterman Katty. Your chosen subject is animation.
If you ask me, I can't do animation, but if you ask me about Urban Dictionary, I'm on it.
Do you, just either of you, do you have any like specific style of animation that you either love or hate?
I didn't like the way they did Scanner Darkly.
No, I wasn't a fan of that.
It made me feel a bit sick.
So just for anyone who's not aware of Scanner Darkly, what kind of animation is it?
Cell shaded, isn't it?
Ooh.
Oh, that is like you're on drugs to me.
Cell shaded is that kind of. It's thick lines, but kind of flat color in sort of zones. I'd say. I don't know how better to describe it.
Shit
without
comic
looking up.
book.
Did they film it first though?
Yeah.
Everything, and then just drew over.
Generally, they filmed the scenes. Obviously, they didn't have all the sets, and they didn't have, because Scanner Darkly is people wearing suits. It masks their identity, which I think with the times of facial recognition cameras, it'd be great to have one of those right now. But do you not think?
I don't give a fuck.
It's kind of like what Hong Kong are doing. They're having like a little projection unit shine on their face so they can't be recognised by facial recognition cameras, so they can't be prosecuted for opposing the Chinese government.
Like on Minority Report, where he like numbs his face or whatever.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But yeah, so cell shaded is very, like you said, comic booky, a very specific, more generic comic book style, I think. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of cell shaded. And yeah, it's normally thick lines and like kind of more solid flat colours in certain areas, I guess.
How do you feel about stop motion?
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I love
we are
stop
classing
motion.
stop motion as part of animation, aren't we?
Oh, sure. Yes. No, one of my choices was, for a second I thought I'd forgotten about stop motion, but no, it's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love a bit of stop motion. I don't have any patience for it. I tried to do something in uni with some shoes at one point, and I got so bored after like 18 seconds worth. I was like, I'm fucking giving up on this. But any particular animation that you do like?
I really like stop motion, especially when it's used in live action.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best examples of stop motion in live action are just stand out because of the style of motion it is. It's not the same as a CG where it's really smooth. It's got its own mechanicalness to it.
Oh, like
Even
the Ray
when-
Harryhausen
Yes,
shit.
Yeah.
exactly. That's probably one of the best examples of how well it can be used. But even RoboCop, they use stop motion for Ed 209, and it looked that's a scarier Ed 209 than any CG version I could imagine.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, I forgot about Ed 209.
Ed or head.
That's such a dad joke.
I do like the kind of classic Disney like line drawing, but maybe it's just because that's what I grew up on. But then again, I'm not a big fan of like the really classic Disney, like Jungle Book.
Why?
It's a bit scratchy. Yeah, I don't massively like Jungle Book, the film, so I think it's all of it. It's just a bit like me.
Oh.
But I love like Aladdin.
I'd say if anything,
Aladdin too.
like a scratchier animation, I like more than a clean line animation.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it shows a lot. So, you know, when you see the animatics before they do the final animation,
yeah.
I always think that looks much better than the final clean line because it shows more of the effort and the artwork gone into it. And I'd love to see an animated film, which is all the animatic, the initial rough sketches.
The only thing is on that, going back to you were just saying about Aladdin too, because I know that there's like a lot more that goes into animation than what I originally thought. Like you have like certain, like obviously certain distances. So like if you were doing Aladdin, his head would have to be this size compared to this width compared to his shoulders that'd have to be. And then sometimes with those older line drawings, or even in like Aladdin 2, the heads start going like weird and like, and like the chin goes all big because they've got like second-rate animators in.
I think perspective is, especially continuous movement perspective, even for like really good animators, is hard. That's why a lot of, like, if you see more recent examples of hand-drawn animation, they'll still use a bit of 3D CGI in it on the really hard stuff when there's a bit of emotion for like a still life object, because it's just so much easier than trying to work out all these perspectives of stuff like that. Because that normally, if you see a little bit weird with animation, it's normally they've had to do some sort of weird perspective that just isn't easy to translate.
Do you have any examples that you can think of? I'm just trying to think.
Well, an example of I can't think of an example where it's obvious, but an example of where they used it recently was the Klaus, the Netflix Santa origin movie.
Is it Klaus or is it Claus?
It's
I've heard it as Klaus, actually, weirdly enough.
Klaus? I thought it was Klaus. I think
it
in
feels
the
like
film,
it should be Klaus,
they say
but
Klaus.
I've heard people call it Klaus.
Did they say Klaus in the film? I can't remember. But that's hand-drawn 2D, but for certain things, I think someone's carrying a plate with like some apples and fruit on it. They used 3D for that bit because there's just like, it's to do that sort of interaction of objects falling, stuff like that, it would take us a lot longer than just doing that, and it's a supplementary thing. Kind of how like a lot of big live action films will only use CG in the background to enhance things. It was just like, it's not important to the story. The character is the main animated thing. That's the thing we wanted to animate hand drawn.
There was something that always pissed me off in animation in like the 90s where I say animation, it was just Disney. They'd always do like repetitive shots. And I was like, that's fucking lazy. Like, I remember there's a bit in Beauty and the Beast where they're doing the Be Our Guest song where like plates bounce along for a bit and then like glasses move along. And then they just have like a collage of like plates and glasses moving left to right. And it's obviously like a copy and paste and like over and over again. I'm like, you're fucking better than that, Disney. Anything anyone else wants to say about animation before we call it for the intro?
Fucking love a good flip book.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Has anyone done a feature which is just to flip someone flipping? So for the whole film, you've got someone's thumb. Yeah.
At the end of it, it's just like bruised and bleeding.
That'd be great. I've seen some shorts that do like a really good mix of going from like a live action, but it's live action stop motion. They've made someone move it, go into a flip book and then come out. I remember seeing one which really, I wish I could remember it. Yeah.
So do I. Right, well, on that note, we'll take a short break and we'll come back and talk about Beavis and Butthead.
What are you doing?
Taking your pod.
No, you're not. You will not be taking our pod today, sir.
Welcome back to part one.
Fucking shit myself.
And you were just about to take us right when I said I'm going to throw this over to you straight away.
Sorry.
Right,
I think you two are much louder in your headphones, and like everything's really quiet to me. But
yeah, it seems quiet to me.
Everything seems to like make you guys jump.
Cham fucking scared me.
So, what? What's Beavis and Butthead Do America about?
So we've got two mates, Beavis and Butthead. Obviously not the real names, but anyway.
Wait, what? Are they not?
I mean,
I've never thought of that.
Who would call their kid Butthead?
No, but I never really thought about whether Beavis was his.
I mean, it could be his surname.
Do we find out if they have real names out?
I don't know. I just know them as Beavis and Butthead.
While you're doing your synopsis, I'm going to look this up.
Okay.
Maybe his name's something like Charles Bufford. And actually it's spelled Butthead.
I feel, is there not maybe something in the movie?
Is Butthead hyphenated?
But hyphenated.
Yeah.
Here we are, Cham, back talking about butts.
And heads.
It's because I know that there's not much plot to this film. So I'm like, well, if we can talk about butts for a bit, I'll take us up some time. And it's quite interesting. Is your butt hairy?
Mine?
What?
I'm just throwing it out there to anyone.
The cheeks are the hole.
What, do you want to do an Instagram poll on who's got a hairy butt?
Whose butt is this?
I like that it was the cheeks or the hole, but not the line. Like, my hole and cheeks are really hairy, but the line is so
Your
smooth.
actual ass crack.
Yeah, that's the hairiest part of mine.
What, the crack over the hole?
Yeah, probably, but that's kind of like, I guess that's like the peak of the mountain.
For me, it's hairy right up until it gets to the like corona around the hole, and then it's
It's a corona.
and then it's just smooth, wrinkly sailing from there.
Wrinkly sailing.
I don't have a hairy butt.
That's good. Good to know. So what else is this film about?
So yeah, Beavis and Butthead.
We got past their names last time.
The two mates, and they decide to go on an adventure across America because the TV is broken.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
And there's capers along the way.
Mm.
Because the TV... Oh, are they... I've forgotten. What, they're going across America. The TV breaks and it causes them to go across America. Why
Yeah.
do they keep traveling?
Because
They're going to do that woman.
Oh, yeah, that's... Yeah.
Yeah. Demi Moore, weirdly enough.
Was that the voice
yeah.
of...
Demi Moore and Bruce Willis were the two like main couple.
What?
As soon as that came up at the beginning, I was like, fuck no. I was like, yeah.
fucking Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And this was back when they were a couple as well.
Yeah. So when they were together, I think apparently it was like one of theirs ideas that they're like, these are like up and coming and cool. Let's jump on this bandwagon. And both did it.
And what, they gave Bruce Willis's character loads of hair in it? Is that like a bit of a stig?
Yeah. Yeah, so they end up going on this, like, would you say that this is a road trip movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a road trip movie. They go across different places in America
To do it.
to do it. Yeah.
So this came from like a TV show.
Yeah.
Did you used to watch the TV show?
I've seen bits of it.
Hmm.
I think when it was at its peak, I might have been a bit too young to actually get it.
And we don't know about your age.
I remember watching it. I wasn't like obsessed with it, but I'd always catch it. And it was from what I remember, it was always them watching music videos.
Yeah.
But it was also intercut with random stuff. And the reason I know that is because the main thing I remember from a TV show is they showed a short animation about how dogs have sex. And they did was like, when a dog gets aroused, it has a bone in its penis.
What is wrong with your fingers? Do that again.
It's because I've got bones in my penis. And yeah, I remember they did like a cartoon X-ray of a dog penis, and it had like a little dog bone in it, sort of thing. And I was just like, what the fuck is this?
So is this, because I didn't watch it that much. I remember it being on that like round about the celebrity deathmatch kind of time. So it wasn't just Beavis and Butthead and music videos? They had other bits in there as well? Or?
Well, I mean, if I didn't remember that one specific thing, I would have just said it was just music videos. But I do remember that. So unless that also happened to be a random thing that happened directly after or before Beavis and Butthead, but I'm pretty sure it was in the series, and it was just this really weird thing.
Like an Adult Swim type.
Yeah. So maybe it was not in that, but because everything else I remember with Beavis and Butthead is just them watching music videos and then going, yeah.
So my first experience of watching this film was that I won 2 tickets to it when it came out in the cinema to go and see the premiere.
And did you?
Yeah. So me and I took a mate, and I felt like, right, cool, because I was like, I'm providing the tickets kind of thing. And it was a 12 before there was such a thing as a 12A. I think we might have been 13, and I won 2 tickets to go and see it. But it was like, go to the premiere of Beavis and Butthead, but then it was in Doncaster at Warner Brothers Cinema.
Oh, God.
And the showing was at like 10:30 in the morning.
What?
So it wasn't like the premiere, it was just 2 tickets to the morning showing when like no one else really turned up. So we like went to see that, and I thought it was really cool.
Is the Warner Brothers one that was next to the Donny Dome?
Yeah, the one that's now like a view.
I can't remember what film I saw there, but I saw the film there.
That was my like local cinema. I went to see all my films.
Did you hang out at Donny Dome?
Yeah, loads of time. There was one time though when I went to see a film with my friends, and when it finished, their parents came to pick them up, and they were like, "Do you want a lift home, Chris?" And I was like, "No, my parents are coming." But I didn't know if my parents were coming, but I was too kind of like polite to say, "Yeah, can I have a lift?" And then just stood there for like 2 hours, and then like my parents realised that I wasn't home. And they're like, "Why the fuck didn't you just go in and ask to ring home?" And I was like, "Because it's cheeky." So just like stood outside, like when I was about 10, just being like, "Mom, when are you coming?" And it was only when they realised like films don't go on for 4 hours that they thought we'll go back. And I was just stood there like waiting like a fucking dick.
How have you not snapped yet? I think you've been so polite to a point that we're just going to find bodies in like a freezer at yours.
How have you not been like kidnapped or?
But this is what I'm like. I blame my parents because they're the ones that raised me like this. They should have been like, if someone offers you a fucking lift, jump in.
Yeah,
and
but
say,
your man's not
sweet.
like this.
He probably was at the time, but he's always been like a little bit cheeky. But that's cheeky for us, saying, "Yeah, I'll have a lift." So yeah, that was my first experience of it back before there was such a thing as a 12A. I must admit, when I put this on this time, I was like, thank fuck, this is only 1 hour and 22 minutes or something, and was buzzing off that. And within about a minute, I wanted to die. They're laughing. I know that's what Beavis and Butthead are about, but they're laughing. I was like, I fucking hate this. Like, I can't remember hating this when I was younger, but I hated it. And I was like thinking to myself, they're going to do this the whole time.
You're such an old man.
But yeah, but they did it the whole time. Those laughs.
Yeah, you can understand why it was a TV series that focused on other content.
Seconds,
yeah.
I am Cornholio.
DB for my battle.
I actually wrote something about Cornholio. I put like, was that ever funny?
Yeah.
Like, was it? Even like in the 90s were people like, yeah, Cornholio.
If weather was funny, then I am Cornholio is funny.
Was up is funny though, isn't it? So this is by Mike Judge, isn't it? And he kind of single-handedly brought this to the screens, I think.
Do you hate him?
No, I really like Mike Judge. He did Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
the
it's great.
new TV show that I absolutely love. He did King of the Hill as well.
King of the Hill, yeah.
Which the dude from King of the Hill was just basically in this, wasn't he?
I do love King of the Hill.
Yeah, the guy who's...
I wonder if
It's the it's his
the
caravan.
the old
Yeah.
man dad sort of
Well.
the closest thing to a dad thing. If they actually had parents, you imagine the old people they interact with in that caravan are their parents because of the way they treat them
But
and
they
how
did
they
have
act.
this weird like dad scene, didn't they? Do you remember? They're like... 2 older guys turn up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're kind of like their dads. And I was like, are these an older Beavis and Butthead?
I think that's what it was supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And it turns out that one of them was actually one of their dads.
But yeah,
or
'cause
both of their dads.
They both said something about meeting some chicks 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, I think it was meant to, by the look of them, he was meant to believe that they were both each of their dads. But then when he talks, it sounds like one of them is both of their dads.
Right.
Because he banged them and the other one did fuck all.
So yeah, the storyline of the film. It's quite a difficult podcast to talk about because it's very light on plot. They get their TV stolen.
Yeah.
And then they go to get another one.
Yeah, and they go to the motel.
Yeah.
They go to different places first, and then go to the motel and they meet the guy that thinks there's some sort of hitman.
Yeah, how does that happen again? Is he just like, are you the guys? And they're like, yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's like they're in this hotel room, like trying to fuck around with the TV to get it to work, and the guy comes in and is like, "Oh, are you the guys?" It's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, "Right, I want you to go to Vegas and do this woman."
And they're like,
like,
Vegas.
Kill, they want them to kill her. And
it's not kill them; it's to do her.
no, I thought it was they wanted. He wants them to kill her, but he uses the word "do" and they think it means fuck. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And are we led to believe that they're both virgins at this point?
Yeah.
And they've never fucked anyone
Done.
before?
Is it in the camper van, the old man and woman, the Hank Hill type one? Is it they're jerking off in it or something like that?
Yeah, they're like always in the background or something, jerking off. And he's like, they're always whacking off. He's just whacking like that, doesn't he? So I was like, that's just the same voice. Come on.
Yeah.
It's the same character. Like, it looks exactly
it does,
the same.
Yeah, he's just not called Hank.
Probably led to King of the Hill being created and everything from there, really, because it is a kind of I'd say his character is more rounded out than Beavis and Butthead in this, because this is light on plot, not just because, I mean, any road trip film in general is kind of light on plot. It's, we need to get to this for this reason, and that's it. It's point B to point A, but there's going to be adventure on the way. But normally, the characters on that road trip learn something along the way, so when we get to the end, they're a different person. So maybe they're trying to stop someone do something, and by the time they end of the road trip, they're like, I now accept your decision to do this thing, so it's up to you, and the person making the decision has also changed their mind or whatever. But this...
You're thinking into this far too deeply.
No, well, this is the thing. Beavis and Butthead don't have any sort of character arc in this.
No, but this is where it's like a TV show that goes into a film and doesn't massively work.
Yeah.
Is that they still want them to be the TV show characters. Like if they got to the end and were like, we should respect women and not talk about dicks all the time, no one's going to watch the TV show.
It feels like at the very least they could have had, because it's, I forget which way around it is. Is it Butthead's the brown hair?
Yeah.
So he's always kind of a dick to Beavis. And I mean, that's funny. That's how because of those characters. But maybe if they learn throughout this whole thing, maybe I shouldn't be as much of a dick. He can still be a dick. It's not like he's going to cut it out, but maybe he learns to, while at the start he's a dick just because it's funny, but at the end he respects Beavis, or like he sees him as an actual brother.
Beavis?
Like maybe they are friends, and at the end he sees him as a brother. So he still can be a dick, and just like brothers, they can fight and stuff. But there's a bit more of some sort of emotional connection between them that just makes you think if one of them died tomorrow, the other would care. Because watching this entire film, you think if one of them got shot in the head throughout this whole film, the other one would be like, hole.
Do you think they could make Beavis and Butthead now?
No.
What, do you think it's society's too woke?
I mean, woke
A boner
or
joke?
Fannies.
Fannies? Is that like woke or fannies?
It's like toe or thumb.
yeah. What is it though? Like dick ball or toe thumb or something? Toe or thumb or dick or ball?
Dick or ball or toe or thumb.
Yeah.
I think they could make it. They'd probably make a decent amount of money on it. And even if they didn't change anything, if it was a studio that wasn't like a big studio that didn't care about the rest of their reputation, like if it was Warner Brothers or Disney, it would hang with them. If it was an up and coming studio, they'd make it and maybe it'd hang on them for a bit longer, but people would eventually forget. And I think they would make a decent amount of money because of the IP. But I generally think that it's more about, while it's easy just to make it and make the same sort of sexist and other sort of shitty jokes and not do anything, if they don't change it enough, people are just not going to care about the story at all. I think it's much harder to get away with having a shit story.
They could have the TV show more now and like comment on modern music videos.
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly.
I think that probably land a lot better than what a film would for it.
do you think that's the same case back then as well? Do you think the TV show was more successful than...
Oh, definitely.
I don't mean like generally. I just mean in your opinion, would you say that actually the format of the TV show lends itself better to Beavis and Butthead than a narrative 90-minute film?
As much as it does make me laugh, there just wasn't enough in it. Like, it just did seem like one episode of Beavis and Butthead without the music videos, just dragged out.
Well, shall we take a quick pause there, and we'll finish for part 1, and we'll come back to talk a little bit more about Beavis and Butthead.
This is a break from the podcast. This isn't fake, it is real. Grab a biscuit, a Kit Kat, or toffee, maybe samosa.
Hobo, to describe what a titty boat caddy is.
Yeah, welcome back to part 2. The Hobo's just been looking through his notes, and he's found 3 words that are lost to him and both of us. What are they again?
Titty boat caddy.
What's the line before?
Well, I mean, because when I make notes, it could be like 1 minute or it could be 10 minutes between lines.
Okay,
so,
or what's the line after?
Well, the line before is pre-9/11 airplane jokes.
I was going to comment on this film being so pre-9/11.
Yeah.
And then it goes straight into the boat caddy.
Yeah, and then it's titty boat caddy - roller coaster of love.
What's Bill Clinton's daughter called? Because doesn't she pop up? She's not called boat caddy, is she? Boat caddy Clinton.
Titty.
Oh, maybe it could be lady. Maybe because I'm writing so quickly.
Titty
It's got a
boat
hook on the top.
lady.
But I still don't know what that means.
Aren't they at like some sort of boat show, or there's like a boat on a revolving thing? Or am I just thinking of something else completely?
Well, there was a whole section that was a bit like a music video where it went a bit trippy.
Roller coaster.
Yeah, so maybe there was someone on a boat.
Possibly.
With
I mean,
titties.
that was the Chili Peppers video for that, wasn't it? It was just Beavis and Butthead.
Well, I mean, this relates to an earlier note, which is I don't think there's a single woman drawn in this film who doesn't have just massive tits.
The old lady didn't have massive tits. That fed him a load
she
of
had-
drugs
they
on
were
the
decent.
plane.
I thought, yeah, they were big. They were just a little bit saggy, I think, but they weren't nothing to, sniff at.
Would you sniff an old lady's titties?
It depends, maybe.
Yeah, they did really feel like kind of... But I say that, it's a bit of an evolution of Thingy Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Jessica.
Yeah, I should
Rabbit.
really put those in the same
No,
sentence.
but I know animation often has this problem where if you draw in a woman, they would generally have big boobs, but like even in other films, it wasn't all the women had big boobs. There's at least some measure of someone restraint.
measure.
Yeah. But this one, it was just drawn like a teenager would draw a woman and nothing else.
I think it's because that's just all Beavis and Butthead is. It's just like a teenage fucking dream, isn't it?
So
It's
you
like
think
not
it's
what-
from their vision, basically. You're seeing the film from
so it's
their eyes.
Meta.
Yeah, maybe it's really smart. Why?
It's very highbrow, actually. I think you'll find Beavis and Butthead was commenting on society.
Someone's written some sort of fucking end of year like thesis on it.
You know, I looked on like reviews today to see what people had given it, and Roger Ebert, like the famed like movie critic, gave it 4 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, what?
Was he on acid?
No, but I feel like you should be defending him.
Well, I mean, they were on, what was it, acid? What were they tripping on when they was in the desert? They're about trippy sequence before they met their dads.
Yeah, there's-
Oh,
I don't know, it was just after they met their dads.
I mean,
'Cause I've
was
got
it?
I want to say
older versions of themselves, their dads, and then put Strange Trip like a full stop music video. I don't know why there's a full stop.
I mean, I want to say peyote, but that's just because it's like Native American like stuff.
Like
Generally, if people
the
trip in
Hobo's
a
beer.
desert, it's
Yeah,
peyote.
it's peyote.
Yeah.
Although I did watch that, on a side note, watch that Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop.
Is that about a vagina candle?
I mean, some of it's about a vaginal candle. But the first episode is about like
It's a TV show?
yeah, on Netflix.
Just about her products and stuff?
Pardon me. Yeah, it's called Goop Lab. The first one is like a new way of therapy.
Mm.
And basically a load of people got some
Coldplay concert.
I think it's I think it's something like Jamaica or something like that, and just take a load of fucking LSD.
What?
And talk about the problems. And apparently one man, he is a gay man, which is fine.
You don't need to say these things, Katty. You don't need to.
But I just don't know if people think I'm going to be like.
And this
say
person is from
something-
Mexico, which is also fine.
Like, I don't know if people are some sort of homophobia here.
Yeah.
It's not. But he's a gay guy and is like, oh, well, the reason I can't.
And wait, and that's fine. We just want, just for the record.
It is A-okay. He's like, oh, the reason why I can't find love is because my dad was never around when I was growing up. Like, I never had a father figure in my life. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And like, he takes this LSD or acid or whatever the fuck it is. It's some sort of hallucinogenic. And like, they're all laid on this decking with like a fire burning incense and stuff in between them all. And it just starts crying randomly. And then two massive burly men just like pick him up and like swaddle him like a baby. And apparently that's therapy.
All right. What, getting swaddled by a bigger person?
Yeah. Well, just dropping a load of fucking hallucinogenics and crying.
Did he fuck them though?
No.
Oh, that's what
Did
I kind
they
of
fuck
wanted
him?
to know.
I don't think. I mean, it didn't show any fucking. But apparently, also, snoga is a thing.
Is that yoga in the snow?
It is.
Nice. I know shit.
I think the only good thing that this shit has done is brought to light how much shit and pseudoscience there is on Netflix.
I mean, it is very new agey, but some of it is also kind of like, you can kind of like see where it's coming from. Like the Snoga thing and the whole breathe. There was like a bit in the Snoga bit where it's like breathing exercises, and apparently it can build your immune system up so you're never ill.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
heard about this, yeah.
But there was also one thing about like, depending on what foods and diet you've got, depends on like how healthy your body ages rather than your chronicle, you fucking actual age.
Oh, yeah.
So like they did this thing where they put some person on like a vegan diet, one person on a pescatarian diet, and another person on some weird like fasting thing. And apparently the pescatarian diet is actually better for you than any other diet, like because of the oils and stuff that you get.
Pescatarian most closely relates to the Mediterranean diet, which
Yeah.
generally has been found to be better for you. But I think the problem is they seem to try and suggest a lot of this thing is based on any sort of real evidence, where it's only, if there's any papers done on it, it's their own funded stuff, and it's always small sample groups, and it's taking lessons that are better suited for individuals and taking them and giving them out as general lessons. There's certain things that do help, but they're not hard, fast things that help.
I
if
mean,
that makes sense.
Not eating a fuck ton of red meat is going to be beneficial for everyone.
Can you do it for different parts of your body? So could I have like a 36-year-old heart, but like the anus of a 12-year-old?
I mean, if you went to go see the plastic surgeon, you could get the anus of a 12-year-old.
But a fuck ton of
sounds
like
good.
red meat isn't anything that any proper science has ever suggested. Everything is always the amount even that people generally as whatever the normal standard is already more than anything that like the NHS would recommend. You don't need. I mean, I admit that I eat far too much chicken. Because you don't
Because
need,
you don't eat anything else.
Yeah,
I
pretty
eat
much.
far too much
But
smash.
you don't need these big
Out of
chunks.
the tub, dry. The little cubes.
Like of a normal chicken fillet, you probably need a third up to a half at most of that in a single meal. But generally, people eat a whole chicken fillet or 3 in one meal, where you probably need that throughout the whole day. And this is. A lot of people think all this stuff is new, where all that's happened is we've taken the advice given and gone really far to the extreme with it, and now we're realising, oh no, that's even bad for you, which is fucking obvious. If you have
Alright.
too much of anything.
All right, Diet Hitler.
Talking of things that are bad for you, should we get back on to Beavis and Butthead?
Is that going to be like 5 minutes cut out? Or just a
No,
bit where,
what else are we going to talk about?
Is it just going to come in where I go, oh, I've heard, and then it's just
And then
Titty lady, titty boat lady.
Cham's just going to voice over like, no one gives a fuck, Hobo.
No, because we literally covered the end in part 1. Like, this, I shouldn't have stopped you. This is all good stuff. But can you just throw the word Beavis or Butthead in there every so often?
I laughed at the bit where someone says insert and he goes insert.
And the bit where he said any last words and he just said butthole, no butt cheeks.
Yeah, that was great.
I love the fact that they thought they were like super fucking spies.
Yeah.
And it's just two fucking wreckheads.
Yeah. And there was the guy who loved cavity searchers, wasn't there? Yeah. It was like every person just wanted to stick his hand
There
up
are
there.
some really fucking great moments of this.
Oh, there is. It's just very, very spaced out.
Over a very short film.
Was it they have some politicians come in? And
Bill
they're-
Clinton came in at the end.
They're in White House, aren't
Yeah,
they?
and they're portrayed as being completely fucking clueless about anything. And I was just like, this seems far too relevant right
Yeah.
now.
Well, what was the thing that they got? They got made honorary agents of alcohol, cigarettes, and firearms. And I was like, that's the
I
kind of
want
like.
to be in that gang.
But I feel like if I wrote stories when I was like 11, it'd end up and it'd be like, and then because the main character was always called like Chris, and they'd be like, Chris ended up being the king of mashed potato and sweets or something, and it was like that. But I was like, an adult's written this. Did they get their TV back?
So the plan is their TV broke,
Yeah.
and their plan to
It got
fix
stolen.
the situation.
They tried to
Stolen,
steal-
sorry.
they tried to steal one from
steal
school.
someone else, and I think they do end up getting the TV
I
back.
forgot
Yeah.
about that
And
bit.
the lesbian seagull guy or whatever is singing his song. And they try and steal that by just
Fucking
wheeling
love
it
lesbian
out.
seagulls.
Yeah.
Oh.
Again, that particular
Little bit, yeah, it's
teacher
good, yeah.
is a very specific stereotype of that era.
Mm.
You
It's like
always
the
thought-
like Woodstock guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And it's weird that was so big in sort of 90. What year was this? Yeah, 90s.
97, this?
Yeah, 96.
96.
I suppose you're always going to get like the Dawsey type guys, like,
Mm.
oh yeah, man, like they want to be hippies still, but like it's like nowadays you still get like the guys that are like mad into grunge,
Mhm.
and it's like, mate, grunge died in like the fucking 90s, like
Yeah.
chill out.
I could completely imagine the actor. Probably wasn't the same in the 90s, but the actor that would play that teacher now. You know, the one he's balding on top, but he has long hair and he always plays that sort of hippie
Yeah,
type.
like don't want to give up ghost.
Yeah.
Mm,
I can't think what film he's in, but he's in a lot of films as the same kind of like, hey man, just
Oh,
he
what
wants to
know
be
you
someone's
mean now?
friend. He's not the same actor, but he kind of looks like the friend from There's Something About Mary, who gets a
Yeah.
lot of
Boils and stuff
yeah.
on his face, like when he's like, he gets hives, like when he's
Yeah.
stressed and
He
stuff.
looks
It's
like that
not
guy,
him.
but it's not him. He's got
And it's
long
not
hair.
David Cross, is it?
No. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. There's
yeah.
a few of those actors that are like that just popped up in stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of Farrelly Brothers films and scary movie films.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to think of like what film he's been in.
I can think of the like two examples of when he's been that same character. I just
can you
can't think of
a
the films.
scene? Like anything he's
It's
doing?
just like a teacher, and he's like, oh yeah. And so there's so many films with a teacher.
That was just your voice.
Is there something like Van Wilder?
Oh, God, that's a film I've not thought about in a while.
Part of Liaison.
Yeah, I used to fucking love that film. I think I would see it about 3 times at the cinema.
Should we do a Ryan Reynolds series where we do like Van Wilder and what's the one where he's like in a restaurant or something
I've never seen
and
that.
they do the ball thing,
Never seen that.
the thing where the actor
Like
guess if it's
cock-a-ball.
yeah. They do something like that in a restaurant. Just I think waiting or
Yeah, something like that.
We should do all the weird.
Is that the
Ryan
one where
Reynolds
he's
films.
fat when he's younger?
No,
And he's like
that's just
singing in the
Friends.
mirror. I've not seen that one.
That's just
either.
your life story.
And the cock and ball one as well. So anything else that anyone wants to say about Beavis and Butthead before we round up?
I fucking love that old lady.
Oh, she gives him the pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not...
That's when he starts doing the...
Getting the trick.
Cornholio.
Cornholio on the plane.
On the plane, isn't it?
I am Cornholio.
Cornholio is a fucking good name.
But is that why he gets fucked later? Does he have some more of the pills?
He has some more of the pills on the bus to the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, she's good, the old lady, isn't she?
She's great.
Yeah.
It's like my mate's nana.
What, literally, or...
Like, just feeding you fucking drugs. Like, once went to my mate's house, like, it was his parents' house. We were, like, 17, 18, something like that. They were having a New Year's Eve party. Went there, and I had, like, a banging headache. Like, I've got a right headache. And she's like, oh, do you want some of these? And I'm just like, what is it? And she's like, oh, it's, fuck.
Not like Valium or something.
No, it's the drug, the painkiller that begins with M.
Fucking hell, God knows. Morphine.
Morphine, yeah.
What?
She's like, oh, I've got some morphine. Do you want some? And I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you. And she's like, okay, do you want these? And she got them out of the cupboard.
And it was heroin.
No, horse tranquilizers.
Oh, Kevin.
Because my friend's mum kept horses. And she's like, oh, do you want some of these? And I was like, no. I don't want morphine.
I mean, I would have been
or
like,
horse tranquilizers.
yes, more.
Do you have
Pocket
just
them.
any paracetamol?
But pocket them and just offer it out to like...
No. But that old
Be a
lady,
dealer.
because she was doing it in like the nicest way
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you've got a headache, you're in pain.
I like
Have
this
some
lady.
of these drugs.
That's some
it just-
grade A.
Always reminds me of my mate Cluffy's gran.
Shout out to Cluffy's gran.
Well, she was fine. I think I've got a note about her being like fine with being a slut or something like that.
I know, because they're talking about, she says she wants to play the slots, doesn't
Yeah.
she?
Oh yeah, that's
And
it. It's like,
you
oh
get
yeah, I'm a
slapped.
slut. Yeah.
What an absolutely crazy film this was.
I also
Like everything happens, but nothing happens.
Yeah, really, like, it's very light on plot, but there's something happening every minute. Like, it doesn't stand still at any point.
since this film, I have found myself now when people do like a road trip or they travel from one, I'll look up on Google Maps the route they do, and I typed in the location of every to watch because I want to see if they actually how much of America they did.
Oh, yeah.
And while they don't obviously cover all of America, they do like go like from west to east. They go from like not LA, but like that side of America to the other side, and they go down a bit to like Texas and stuff like that. And I was like, that's
That
quite
makes
interesting.
geological sense.
Yeah.
or
Well, I mean, some
geographical.
bits they kind of go back on themselves, so I'm not entirely sure if the coach would have been going back on itself as much, but generally, yeah.
So that's a good point for Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
It's
If that was
geographically
true,
sound.
accurate.
Accurate. Not like your
Accurate.
pronunciation.
You're taking those horse
Accurate.
tranquilizers.
I put they find their busted TV. The end. That was my last. No. I don't want to like badmouth this film because I do think it's very of its time. I didn't enjoy watching it, but I feel bad saying that. I'm not like it's horrible or hateful or like people shouldn't watch it. It just wasn't for me.
It's a hangover watch. Like
Yeah.
like nowadays, like you might have watched it and enjoyed it when you were, I don't know, in your teens,
Mm.
and it's fun. But now it's just, I like to call it like nostalgia hangover watch, where you don't really have to concentrate on what's going on. You just put it on for a bit of background noise, so you're not just fucking dying in your own thoughts.
I quite liked all like the side characters. It was just those two, like, and the laughing like annoyed me. And when it started, I was like, I can't get past this. So I'm definitely going to say it's Spoilt Milk, but I don't feel like hateful against it. I'm not like it's shit and you shouldn't watch it. But for me, it was Spoilt Milk.
Well, if we're gonna go on Hobo's reasons of why it should be spoilt milk or why it should be luxurious cheese is, would you recommend it to someone?
Oh, yeah.
As much as it was my choice, I would go for spoilt milk. Because I wouldn't recommend it to someone to watch as like, oh yeah, watch this, it's good. It'd be like, if you just want to shove something on, if you're hanging, put it on.
Have we ever had that before? Where one of us has suggested something and then, you and Greasy Strangler.
Fucking Greasy Strangler over there.
I'm in agreement with you. And I think it's a shame because, I mean, this has got Mike Judge all over it. And in that regard, the quality, there's all the, if anything, the side characters are really good, really solid, some really funny moments. Cavity Search, as mentioned, all these little moments. I think there's just no overall thread holding it together to make it a really enjoyable movie, but it easily could have been, and it's just a bit of a letdown of how good it could have been, even with these characters which don't necessarily lend themselves to being good for films. But yeah, Spoilt Milk.
Oh, so we all said Spoilt Milk, our first animation. If you do want to get in touch and put forth any suggestions for our 10th and final film of the round,
the next season.
Or the next season, any suggestions you want us to cover, please get in touch with us at Spoilt Milk Pod.
I think, if anything, this is a prime example. Any suggestions, they don't need to be heralded as a great film. This is a really good
shit.
It's just, is it interesting to talk about?
Yeah, and it's interesting to learn from why it doesn't work when, I mean, this film really should work, but it just doesn't, unfortunately. And
Right.
I'm sipping my wine.
Guys.
Until next time. See you later.
Toodle pip.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, you pieces of fucking shit.